we go. Now, again, today what I'm going to try to do is review from the test as well as go over the new material. And I just want to encourage those of you guys who aren't satisfied, speak up. I mean it. Speak up. All right? But pay attention to question number 1. I promise you, if you can do number 1, you can do like 2 through 6. All right? Now, here we go. All right, it says just simply finding the slope. All right, and remember what we said was m is delta y over delta x. All right, so you have this information from here to here, and then here is where I'm at. What did I do? What is delta y? -3. What's delta x? 1. Positive 1. Down is negative. Right is positive. Up is positive. Left is negative. So my slope is what? Slope equals -3. That's it. What?
You could have, wait.
Now remember what I tried to tell you guys. It's easier if you start with the left point. All right, but I know what Maggie's trying to say, so I'm going to go ahead and help her say it. Here, if you start at the right point and you went up, that delta y would be what? 3. But then when you go to the left, that would be what? -1. So it's still the same answer. All right, it's still the same answer, regardless of what point you start at. All right. Now, briefly, let's go ahead and jump to number. Let's go ahead and do number 2. All right. So again, from here. Now, if you are observant, you don't have to use those 2 points. Right? I'm going to say, look, this point right there, all of these points are on the line. Do you agree with that? So you should be able to say up 1 over 1. So the slope is what? Slope is 1. If you want to, you could have said, I went up 4, and to the right what? 4. If I go up 4 and over 4, it's still what?
1.
It's still 1. If I go up 2 and over 2, or up 3 and over 3, or up a half over a half, that ratio will always equal 1. Now, does anybody have any questions finding the slope given a line? Anybody? All right. So now, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 provide you lots of what? Lots of practice. All right. Everybody jump to number 8. All right. And everybody write down the answer for number 8. And then I will tell you what the answer to number 8 is, and then you can see if you understand. So the slope is what? -1/4 or -3/12. Okay? Got that right? You're in good shape. All right. Drew, any luck? What'd they say?
They said that the last time that my iPhone was connected to Wi-Fi was at my house.
Oh, okay. So it's at your house. Okay. Let me see if let me see if I can find my iPad. Can you get into your iPad for mine?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second just so I can find my iPad. So here we go. Turn around and be quiet. All right, excuse me. Yes.
I went to the right first. Is that?
So you went where?
I went to the right first instead of going to next down. So I got go.
You can't go left or right first. Right? You're either starting at this point. So in other words, okay, I see what you're saying. You just went this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
and then you went what? This way. The reason I don't like that is because slope is rise first. Do you hear me? You get the same answer. I'm not arguing with you. But if you always do the rise first, that teaches you to put the delta y first and then the delta x. Do you hear me? All right. Rise goes first. You either go up or down. Then you go left or right. Right, Allie? All right, continue. Graph the equation using the slope and y-intercept. All right. Now listen. I'm going to teach you a new technique today, but this new technique really is not used for graphing x equals -3. From last week, x equals -3. Remember what type of line x equals -3 is? It's a vertical line. All right, now how I remember this is x equals -3 goes through the x-axis at what point? At -3. So I want everybody to go to -3, plot that point, and then you're drawing a vertical line. And then you're going to draw the vertical line. Is everybody with me on this? All right. Now we're going to graph y equals 5. If x equals -3 was vertical, what do you think about y equals 5? That's probably what? Horizontal. So y equals 5. So it's a dot at 5 going horizontal. Is everybody happy with that? All right, continue on now. Those are the two graphs. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is that only for that equation?
Only for those are two special equations.
So if it's like
We're going to get to all the other
-3 and y is 4, would you not do that?
So if I ask you to graph x equals c, it's always going to be a vertical line going through c, whatever c is. If I ask you to graph y equals d, that just means it's a horizontal line going through whatever d is. That's what you have to know. Good for you.
So x is always
Vertical.
vertical going through whatever it is.
That's right.
Okay.
And y is always a horizontal going through whatever that is. That's a good summary. Very good summary. All right. Now, let's take a look at number 10. Sorry for the interruption. All right. Now, first thing on number 10, I need everybody to put it into y equals for me. All right. Hello? No. A lot of this with you. But you can just, yeah, I'm trying to, I'm following through. All right. So first and foremost, last week, all right, in order to graph using the slope and y-intercept, you have to solve for y. All right. So right here, guys, look at me. The problem is there's a 7 in the way here. All right. So what I have to do is I have to divide the equation by what? 7. So when I divide by 7, here we go. Divide by 7, divide by 7, divide by 7. When you do that, you end up with an equation y equals 3/7 x minus 2. Anybody have any objections to that? All right. Now what I want you to do is, here is the new topic. All right. I want everybody to write down y equals mx plus b. All right. And underneath that, I want you to write, this is called slope intercept form. Why do you think it's called slope intercept? Because it gives you the slope and it gives you the what? Intercept. Now, I think they should call it the slope y-intercept. All right? So keep that in mind. It's called the slope y-intercept. But they don't ever say y. They just say it's the slope intercept form. Is everybody okay with that? Now, m is obviously the what? We already talked about that. Since m is the slope, what do you think b is? The what type of intercept? The y-intercept. Beautiful, guys. All right. So b represents the y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is a point. The y-intercept is a point. So every graph, you will start with plotting the y-intercept. From there, after you plot the point, you will use the slope. Now listen to me, guys. This really is very, very easy. It's very easy. All right? But if you don't understand the slope-intercept form, it's difficult. All right? So in our problem, somebody please tell me what the y-intercept is.
Is it 7?
In our problem right here, what is the y-intercept? Tell me. You are awesome. -2. So I plot the point 0, -2. So everybody plot the point 0, -2. And once I've plotted the point 0, -2, I'm now going to use the what? Slope. What is the slope again? 3/7. Now, some people accidentally put x with the slope. Slope has nothing to do with the x. It's just the ratio in front of x. So if the slope is 3/7, what does that mean I do from this point? What do I do? Go up and over 7. That's how simple it is. From that point, you go up 3 and over 7. Now, I don't like to say over. I like to say right or left. So we're going to go what? Up 3 and right 7. We're going to the right 7 because it is positive. We're going up because it is positive. So now, up 3. 1, 2, 3. We don't plot a point. We then go over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we plot that point. So this, just to blow it up for you, is delta y. This is delta x. And now we can draw the line. All right? I draw the line through those 2 points. Now, come on, guys. That's pretty easy. Now, I like the questions right now. Those of you guys who are not satisfied, now's the time you speak up. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Speak up.
Why do you start at the -2?
Because you always start at a point. If you're going to graph, you always have to start from a point. The slope is not a point. The slope is the movement on the graph. So you have to always start with a point. And the point is going to be the what? The y-intercept. All right? I promise you. Quick.
So you use -2 or you use 0 and -2 because of like.
That's the y-intercept. That's exactly correct. We're not doing tables anymore. All right? It's much quicker to do it this way. Yes, quickly. Come on.
When it says x equals 6.
I'm not there yet. Come on. I'm on this problem. What?
So for 9 and 10, they're like the same.
I'm not asking. What are you?
Because like on 9, we didn't do that, but they're the same type of problem.
What's the difference between 9 and 10?
Oh, you just didn't.
There's no x or y in 9 or 10. It's a special case. I told you that.
Oh.
Listen, it's always x equals or y equals. The special case is when there's a single variable, right? On most of the lines, they're always going to have a what? X or y. But there's just special cases. X equals and y equals. X is a vertical. Y is a horizontal. Everything else has a slope. It's going to be slanted in some way. Okay? Now, just to annoy you, how do I do x equals 6? That's a special case. So for x equals 6, what am I going to graph? What am I going to graph? Say it. Come on. Horizontal, vertical. The vertical at what point? 6. So I find 6. Right here is 6. And now I'm going to draw what type of line? Vertical. There you have it. All right? So x equals goes through the x-axis. Y equals goes through the y-axis. Connor, are you with me?
Yeah.
Drinkard. All right.
Wait, I'm confused on that.
On what?
I don't know.
Come on.
Y to the straight line.
There's lines are straight, okay?
Okay.
So why did I graph the line what? Which one are you asking me? Because listen to me now. I'm not trying to be funny, serious. I'm trying to really help you.
Okay.
So x equals 6 is this. Are you saying I don't know why you did that?
Okay.
And you can say yes. You understand why, right?
Yeah.
And then this line over here, this line is this line.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Okay.
Right? Okay, let's try 11. Now, for number 11, what I did was I just didn't put in an equation. So what's the y-intercept here, guys? So what do I have to do? Plot 0, -5. So everybody plot 0, -5. Now after you plot a point, you're going to use the what? Slope. What's the slope? So from that point, I have to go what?
Wait, up.
I have to go think for yourself.
Up 4.
What?
Down.
Down 4 and to the right. Now, listen again. Slope equals -4. Make it a fraction over 1. Is it over +1 or -1? +1. Because if it was over -1, then the slope would have been positive. Right? Everybody good? So now, from this point, I have to go what? Down 4 to the right 1. So I'm going to go down 4 and then to the right 1. Plot the next point. And now I just do what? Draw the line. Let's draw the line. Here we go. Anybody have any questions with that? Any questions? What?
Since it was negative, you went down on the other equation. Since it was positive.
Exactly. All right, exactly. Up is positive, down is negative. All right, now here we go. -4x plus 3. James, what do I have to do? Now, what's the y-intercept? What is the y-intercept? Tell him. Yes, good job, girl. 0, 3. All right. Now, what's the slope? What's the slope? -4 over 1. I prefer that you say the slope as a fraction. That way you know what you're doing. Everybody good with this? So if the slope is -4, all right, now I'm going to change colors here. So somebody tell me, Emery, how do I graph this?
Okay, so if for the y-intercept it's 0, 3,
Good. Plot the point 0, 3.
and then negative. Okay, and so you go down 4 and over right 1.
You're awesome, girl. Down 4 over 1. And then let's make the line. Now, what appears to be true about these two lines?
They're parallel.
They are parallel. Can you tell me why they're parallel? Because they have the same what? They have the same slope. Lines that are parallel have the same slope. All right? Not bad. Here we go. Let's take a look now at number 12. Or I'm sorry, 13. All right, everybody take a look at 13. The ones I'm skipping, I'm going to do with the other class, okay? All right, so if you're having trouble now, and I mean it, guys, if you're having trouble, there's a problem. That's why the videos are created. Right? If you're not having trouble, you understand what I'm doing, you don't need to. But the videos are there to walk you through. All right, there aren't any excuses. All right, I know you don't want to hear me screaming at you at home, but I promise you it can help. All right, it can help. Following directions. Here we go. Is this in the right order? 2x plus y equals 0. No, I've got to solve it for y, so I have to move the what? I have to move the 2x to the other side.
Divide.
How do I move 2x? Subtract it, right? If it's on the left side, it's positive. On the right side, it's going to be negative. Come on, guys. So now I have y equals negative 2x. Now, if I wanted to, could I put negative 2x plus 0?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're smart. We don't have to do that. All right? So now, I would like someone, James, what's the y-intercept this time? Somebody tell him again. 0. Thank you. 0. All right? Now, how do I know it's 0? Because the y-intercept is after the x. I don't see anything after the x, so it's 0. All right? So your y-intercept is 0, 0. So you plot that point. All right? Now I'm going to plot that point 0, 0. Now, what is the slope? I already told you how I want you to say it. Negative 2 over 1. If you just say negative 2, I see kids go down 2 and then they've got a vertical line. All right? Yes, I know who you are. All right? You go down 2 and then what? To the right 1. All right? So now I'm going down 2 to the right 1. And now I can draw the line. All right? Now I can draw the line. Perfect. All right? Yes, ma'am. Good.
0, 0.
Okay, come on now. Remember, y equals mx plus b. B is after the x. What number is after the x? Nothing. Nothing is what number? 0.
Can't we just do it how we used to do it?
No. Nope. Not even going to go any further than that.
But no.
You're big kids now. We do it this way. All right? There are multiple ways of graphing. My objective is to show you the absolute easiest way. But I had to show you by plotting points. I had to show you by making a table. I had to show you by creating the x and y intercept. Because when you take a standardized test, they're going to ask you all the different possibilities. All right? The standard of how to graph is using slope and y-intercept. All right? That's the easiest way to do it. So that's how we're going to do it. All right? Now I've got a problem. All right? We're going to save, or not we're going to save, we're going to write x minus 2y equals 4. And now I've got to solve it for y, which means I have to move what?
X.
I'm going to move x over. When you move x over, it becomes negative. All right? So I want everybody to write down negative 2y equals negative x plus 4. Notice I'm keeping the x in front of the constant because that's where it goes, in front of the constant. And now what do? Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. All right? From there, I have y equals. Negative and a negative make a?
Positive.
So I don't want you to write it as x over 2. I want you to write it as 1/2 x.
Plus 2.
And then a positive divided by a negative is a? Thank you, Connor. All right? Now, for this, Hayes,
Oh, God.
graph. How do I graph this? Shh. What do I do first?
You have to go -2.
You have to go
Down 2.
down 2. Come on. Go down 2. That's not that difficult. You go down 2. Plot a point. Now, from there, what do I do next? You go,
You go.
yes, go,
Well, I know it's.
tell me,
one.
tell him.
You have to go up one.
You're just looking at the slope. Listen to me now.
We're gonna go like
I don't care about the excuse. Just listen. It's this simple. You go down 2, plot a point, then you use the slope. The slope is 1/2. So Ryan, what do? You go up 1 and over 2. There's nothing I can do for you. Nothing. Those are the rules. Plot the y-intercept, use the slope. That's how you do every single one. Except when it says x equals and y equals. All right? So from that point, again, what do, Hayes?
Go up 1 and to the right 2.
Up 1 and to the right 2, which brings me to that point right there. And now you graph or you draw your line going through those 2 points. Simple as that.
Okay.
Quickly, come on.
Okay, is it 1/2 because negative x?
Yes, because the number in front of that x, believe it or not, is a 1. So it's like -1 over -2. Good for you, girl. All right. Come on. Hayes, you all right back there?
Wait, what?
I don't know why I said Hayes. All right, here we go. Next. Let's go. 7x minus 2y equals 14. 7x minus 2y equals 14. So I have to solve. All right, we're going to solve that. Not first. Is that really the bell? Okay, listen, guys. So what we're going to do is, listen, I want you to try to finish up through, just try to finish up through maybe, let's say, 16, because I'm generous. All right, all the way up to 16. Now you have to use a table. So if you've got to use a table, go back and look at the notes.